Hello everyone, Flanker here. In this video we are going to talk about the downfall of New World and analyze the valuable lessons that Ashes of Creation developers can learn from it. As it's been said, stupid people make mistakes and never learn. Smart people make mistakes and learn from them. And wise people learn from the mistakes of others. New World is a great example of how a promising MMO can quickly waste its potential. So today we are going to analyze the main reasons why that happened. New World's launch was marked by significant excitement and anticipation. However, this initial hype didn't translate into sustained player engagement. Players often found the game's reality falling short of their expectations, leading to a drop-off in long-term interest. Intrepid Studios took a different approach, choosing the transparent path of open development, which may play an important role in managing the expectations of future players. Here is what Steven Sharif said in one of the monthly live streams.
We are not trying to make a product that appeals to every MMO gamer. That's impossible. And so we've been very upfront and forthright with what we are trying to accomplish and what our core pillars of philosophical design are. And that's an okay thing. And if the thought of player competition, of potential threat and soft friction is not one that resonates with you, there are plenty of games out there that are not focused around those philosophies, and that's entirely acceptable.
Basically, the only real question remaining is whether Intrepid Studios will manage to deliver a high-quality product that they promise, and I guess we'll get a better understanding of that during Alpha 2. One of the most annoying things post-launch was the lack of servers and as a result, the long queues. It could literally take 5-6 hours just to log in, and on some servers even longer. Moreover, if your game crashed, congratulations my friend, you have to wait again.
Oh shit, here we go again.
I can only imagine how infuriating and disappointing this was for casual players who may only have a few hours to play. After some time, new servers were added, but not long after that, New World faced another problem. The number of players reduced dramatically, and many ended up on servers with extremely low populations. No doubt, it wasn't a great gaming experience. So, what can Ashes of Creation do to prevent this? Well, first of all, they should do their best to estimate the expected number of players at launch as accurately as possible to understand how many servers are required. As a plan B, they should be ready to add more servers quickly if the number of players exceeds their expectations. At this point, we already know that there will be a limited number of registered accounts per server to mitigate login queues, which I consider to be a good sign. Another major issue of New World was the lack of endgame content. Players reaching higher levels found themselves with limited activities, leading to a feeling of aimlessness and reducing the game's replayability. Faction missions were repetitive, and the only thing that made them less monotonous were occasional PvP encounters. There were only 2 high-level dungeons that quickly became dull. The wars weren't bad, but it was pretty much impossible for an average player to see his name on the roster. Ashes of Creation promises a significantly larger world to explore and a decent number of ways to have fun. Gathering, crafting, dungeons, castle sieges, naval content, and many other activities give us hope that Ashes of Creation will not suffer the same fate and that the endgame content will be engaging and varied. And I guess it would be really nice to see some kind of a roadmap in future so players understand what new content can be expected in forthcoming updates. Persistent technical problems, including server instability, performance issues, and gameplay bugs, severely impacted the player experience in New World. These issues discouraged players, leading many to abandon the game. There is a limited number of problems that an average player will tolerate, and the quantity of game-breaking bugs in New World was enormous. Not only did they seriously affect gameplay, wars, and PvP, but they also impacted the economy. A number of dupes and exploits, as well as multiple questionable decisions to stabilize the situation, really angered a lot of players. Something tells me that one of the reasons why it's taking so long for Intrepid to release Ashes of Creation is to ensure that players won't have that kind of experience. I also hope that they'll be smart enough to implement a convenient bug report system and take a different approach than New World, which was both hilarious and sad at the same time. To report a bug in New World, you had to make a post on the forum and describe all the details precisely. And obviously, as a result, more people had a chance to exploit that bug.
That's a great plan, Walter. That's fucking ingenious if I understand it correctly.
Apart from everything else, New World was infamous for 2 things. a huge number of bots, and little to no action taken to deal with them. Personally, I've seen them many times and they never got banned despite being reported multiple times by multiple players. As a result, this led to an influx of certain resources and market oversaturation. The prevalence of bots played its role in harming the reputation of New World, as it was one of the reasons for so much RMT. However, the report system worked surprisingly well when it was abused to mass report players to prevent them from participating in wars. It's a different story, but for that reason, many players had the impression that New World didn't really want to take action against bots at all. So, what is Steven Sharif's opinion on this matter? Let's listen to what he has to say.
In games that I've played where the company or the publisher does not enforce rules, it becomes the standard that you buy gold. If you want to be competitive, if you want to compete at the top tier levels in certain games and everyone's buying gold, you are almost either have to buy the gold or you're just not going to be able to compete with those people. And that's a really shitty feeling to have. Excuse my French. I apologize.
I'll bleep it next time.
Okay, thank you. That is sucky. And in order for that not to be the case, it is the responsibility of the publisher or the developers, both, to make sure that we have stringent practices from a CS from a customer service perspective to enforce our rules and to make sure that players are aware if they partake in this, there is a huge risk in doing so. It's not going to be a slap on the hand. It's not going to be we told you once, we told you twice, we told you 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, we're just taking some gold away, that kind of thing. We have got to ensure that it is feared to do those things because that Ashes has active GMs, it has active customer service, it has an active community team. And if there's one thing that you guys have seen over this development so far, is even prior to the game launching, prior to significant test sessions, we focus on community engagement.
Not gonna lie, that sounds promising, but let's not forget that having security systems is only the first step. New World, for example, had them, but it felt like they didn't. So the real question here is how effective their approach will be. Also, it would be great to have an option to attach screenshots and videos as a proof while submitting a report. And I really hope that there will be a person on the other side to review reports and take action as soon as possible. Lack of transparency in in-game systems truly infuriated me when I was playing New World. A perfect example of this was the watermark system. For a long time, there was basically no way to even know that this system existed unless you did some research outside of the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's definitely not something that anyone would like, especially casual players who don't spend hours watching YouTube videos or reading forums. After a while, a watermark UI finally appeared in the game, along with several other unpleasant updates, such as gear score downscaling. It basically forced everyone to grind watermarks, even though previously it wasn't necessary at all. Apparently, the lack of content pushed New World developers to create it artificially, which made everything go from bad to worse. To avoid these issues, the developers of Ashes of Creation, a game with many complex mechanics and systems, should aim to provide a high level of transparency. In my opinion, a new player should be able to learn everything about the game while playing it. So, what do you guys think? What other valuable lessons can Ashes of Creation learn from New World and other MMOs? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you made it this far, consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel for more. I am Flanker, and I'll see you soon.